Well, welcome to this week's edition of the Don't Argue, of course, all thanks to Palmer Bet. And, I have not spoken to this bloke since before Origin last week. And he surfaced. He's been laying low, fair to say. Kurt Gidley, how are you, big fella? And, gee whiz, mate, the old Blues could not get the job done in Origin 3 last week.
Yeah, Matty, I'm still drowning my sorrows, mate, just with a glass of red each night, just trying to work out what sort of went on there last Wednesday. But, geez, what a brutal start to a game. I don't think I've ever seen such a ferocious, high-intensity start to any game previously. So there was just no respect for their bodies, which was great to see, but there was very little tackle technique in some of those tackles. And unfortunately, we've seen 3 blokes off with HIAs and ruled out in the first 3 minutes, unseen before, I'd say.
It was an unbelievable game, Gids, and you know I'm new to NRL and I'm a Victorian and all that kind of stuff, but I've had that many people talking about that game 3 the other night. It was just one for the ages, and honestly, that you do it so well up there, mate. It's full credit, and I know you didn't get the result you're after, but God, just the way you go about it and the way and the show that they put on, and that was nearly every individual, I reckon, Gids, going at 110%. They were 10% better than they probably normally are.
And Matty, I reckon that's Origin. You know, just when you think you've seen it all, and you think that, you know, even reflecting on the games that I played, I'm not sure if there was too much left in the tank even when I was playing. But you know, when the game is on the line, the Origin series is on the line, you've got to find something somewhere, and you're able to tap into a little bit of energy resource that's stored in somewhere in your big toe, and you're able to find something. But mate, it's unbelievable the intensity and the endurance that these players and the physicality that they put themselves through, and that's why the game Origin is so valuable to the NRL and you know the broadcaster Channel 9. So it just keeps getting bigger and bigger somehow, which blows me away. I reckon there would have been plenty of non-NRL fans tuning in for that one around the world, and they'd be shaking their heads going, wow, what is this sport?
Oh, mate, it was phenomenal. And the story, Billy Slater, first coaching, performance to win an Origin as the underdog. And you can see what it meant to him, Cam Smith. And on the flip side, what about Joey Johns? That was just unbelievable, but it's what it means, isn't it? There's so much passion in their Gids.
Mate, it was great. Joey's comments were exactly what I was thinking sitting on the lounge here in the background here. It's exactly where I was sitting. Mate, I was shaking. Towards the end of the game, I couldn't control my hands. I was shaking through nervousness, frustrations, anxiety. But Joey was just. I know he's come out post Origin and said, I probably didn't articulate my words as well as what I could have. But
I loved it.
Even his 5-minute video on the back of that, he just spoke so genuine and passionately around what Origin means to him and what playing for the Blues meant to him, and how dare other journalists within the media question whether Joey's passion for the New South Wales jersey is not as high as Queensland. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous comment, but mate, it's fair credit to Queensland. I always thought, Billy coming into that coaching position would be a worry for New South Wales, because we spoke about the influence of good leaders, and Freddie being one of those as well, and Billy, Cameron, Thurston, they are all great leaders. They've been there before, and they're always going to have a positive influence on the playing group, and mate, they played tough, especially that second half.
A masterstroke by the Maroons hierarchy, to be honest, to get those 3 legends of the sport. They're only 3 years out, really. It's just a phenomenal thing. I just reckon it was brilliant, mate. And full credit to the NRL, full credit to the Blues, the Maroons, just the way you put it together. And down here, being a Victorian, mate, and growing up with AFL, I'm telling you, you're winning across the crowds, big fella. There's plenty that are watching a lot more NRL these days, I reckon. So well done, Gids. And
it's credit to the game, mate, and credit credit to the players who put their bodies through it and then go back and back up for their club teams, mate, a few days later. That's the unbelievable part.
Well, just on that, Brett Kamali came out and obviously, what was your take on his comments about the Panthers, and the baby Panthers, effectively on the weekend? What's your take on that, Gids?
Well, I've seen some comments that he said it is disrespectful for Penrith to rest some of their Origin players. That's ridiculous, to be honest. Mate, Penrith have got a squad that they've got great depth. They've got a club that they've got great depth. They instill confidence in players who can step into the positions of the Origin guys who are, firstly, they're ruled out through Origin in the week leading up to it. And then, post-Origin, well, if you've got the depth in your club, why not rest your star players? Because, hey, there's a pretty big prize at the end of the year that everyone's competing for. So,
and they've got themselves into a great position, Gids, that they can do this. It's all about now the end goal for them is to win another premiership.
Right, Matty, all the best coaches do it. Trent Robinson does it, has done it for a number of years. Ivan Cleary. Who else we talking? Craig Bellamy's done it over the years. So all those top coaches with who have always been had a pretty big influence on rep teams, and obviously sitting pretty well. In as far as the top four, I know the Roosters are out of that stage at the moment, but consistently they normally rest their Origin players post Origin at different times.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I'm with you 100%. What about the Sharks? They were impressive. We thought, I must admit, I was one of them. Cowboys have been flying. They've moved themselves into equal second on the ladder now. They're humming along nicely.
Yeah, big effort by Fitzy and the team there. So,
and you were over this early. Show number one, Gids. I'm gonna rehash it up. You were all over this at the start of the season.
Dig up that footage, mate. I know there's been a couple of stinkers I've probably had up until this point, but certainly the Sharks was definitely a team I had in the top four. I think they came in at fourth position before the season kicked off, and I like their roster, but more importantly, I like their new head coach Craig Fitzgibbon. So they're doing a really good job at the moment. Whatever they're competing and knocking off a top team like the Cowboys, who have been on a hell of a run, that will certainly build some confidence for the Sharks going in the back end of the year.
Mate, what about the Raiders defeating the Storm? Is there any alarm bells? Like we lose Pappenhausen again, mate. They just can't take a trick at the moment. I think everyone just thought the Storm were going to bounce back on the weekend, especially with Munster playing and stuff, but just didn't happen.
Yeah, mate, I think we spoke about last week, though, Munster coming back to Melbourne straight after COVID, that, you're not going to be jumping out 100% back to 100%, are you? Like it's, I think most of the top players will always put their hand up post that 7 days and want to play for their club again. But I don't think you're ever going to be back at 100% where where you were pre-COVID. But yeah, look, it's uncharacteristic that the Storm would lose 3 games in a row. But still no concerns for me. I think they've look at the past 10 or more years. They've had blokes like Cameron Smith, Billy Slater, Cooper Cronk, GI when he was there, Israel. So they had a huge number of representative players over the years. So they've been through these rep periods, these tough rep periods before, and I've got no doubt they'll reset and go again for the back end of the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
But great, mate. Also a great win for the Raiders. I remember the Raiders knocking off.
I like the Raiders.
Knocking off the Sharks Magic weekend, I think, too. So,
yeah, I like him. I reckon, and I love Ricky Stewart. I reckon he's a beauty. He wears his heart in his sleeve. And I reckon they're the side that could sneak in. I really do. I reckon, I like what they put out.
Yeah, mate, they seem to be a sort of pretty tough and resilient team. I know they just, they have weeks where they go down against a team they probably expected to win, but they certainly get themselves up for the big teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, listen, what about put a line through it, mate? I've got to come to it, big fella. You've been holding off on us here, Gids. You put a line through the Tigers. You put a line through the Titans. You put a line through the Bulldogs. You put a line through the Warriors. Mate, seriously.
There's no other teams there, is there?
Mate, the question's got to be asked. You've got to be putting a line through your Newcastle Knights this week.
Mate, you wouldn't believe it. I've lost my pens. I've lost all my pens tonight.
Come on, mate. Stick your neck out, big fella. Here it is. Are they gone? They're
Oh,
gone.
mate, they're gone.
They're gone.
They're
Kid.
gone.
They are
They're
gone,
gone.
mate.
They're gone, and they're gone for a few reasons, mate. For me, defensively, we're going backwards. Unfortunately, we made some real headway last year defensively as a club, the Newcastle Knights, which was great to see. Unfortunately, it was probably switched around last year. We struggled to score points a little bit, but I was really proud of the way they defended last year. Mate, we've gone way backwards defensively, defensive structures, belief, and the statistics around our points against. It's poor. There's no other way to put it. And unfortunately, last week was another bad loss to Manly at Brookvale there again. And mathematically, they still may be able to make it, but I don't think I've seen a team come from where they are to get there. And what is this? I think there's 7 games to go or so to win all 7, and it's probably unrealistic. It's unrealistic.
The line's gone, mate. Put them through, mate.
Yeah.
Now, listen, are you going to keep? Yeah, I'm going to ask the question. The Raiders, they're in dangerous territory, and the Dragons. What are you thinking? You're going to keep both them in? They're both on, and the Roosters. They're all on 18 points, and then
it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, all 3 on 18 points. So big race for those 3 teams, especially the Roosters, mate. The Roosters have a history and a culture of being not just in the top 8, but the top 4, if not the top 6. So the pressure is right on the Roosters at the moment because of the power they have within their club and outside of their club, and it's uncharacteristic for them to be sitting in 9th position at the moment. So. Yep, they're up against our Knights boys there this weekend, and they must keep winning to get in the 8. Dragons, I'm circling the Dragons at the moment, but I'll hold off until this week. Those 3 teams.
Well, they got the Sea Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Sharks, the Dragons, in the next 3 weeks. Yeah. So we're going to know their fate pretty quick. They got 2 out of the top 3 at the moment, and the Cowboys and the Sharks both in good nick. So. We could very quickly be putting a line through them in the next couple of weeks.
Yep, I'm circling the Dragons at the moment. Remember I put a line through the Dragons when I didn't quite know the rules there a couple of weeks ago.
I'm still laughing about it, big fella. You were probably right, mate. You're ahead of your time.
I might have called it.
Hey, listen, kids, let's have a look at round 19, of course, this weekend. All thanks to Palmerbet, of course. Gamble responsibly. That is the key message. They do a magnificent job, the team down at Palmerbet. They're really getting involved. They love their NRL, and the boys do a sensational job. So Thursday night, it's the Eels and the Broncos. This is going to be absolute ripper. 750 Combank Stadium. Head-to-head, Eels $1.60. Broncos $2.35. Eels at the line -3.5 at $1.90. Some key stats here, kids. Eels have won 4 straight against the Broncos. That is massive. And the Eels, Mako Sivo has 5 tries in his last 4 games against the Broncos. So he's the money man, so to speak. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, mate. I like Broncos as the outsiders here, Matty. There's been. I was listening to the radio this morning, and there's. Mate, it could be speculation, it could be complete BS, or there could be some truth in it. But there was some rumours floating around there this morning that Brad Arthur's management or agent has said he's available for another coaching gig if there's one on offer. So that's just speculation and rumours that you don't want flying around your head coach or the club. And mate,
this time of the year.
Brad Arthur, it might have nothing to do with him, to be honest. It might be just his management talking to another club without him knowing about it, but certainly not what you want. It's not what you want circulating around your head coach, that's for sure. And I reckon he'd be filthy on that. So I'm going to go Broncos as outsiders here, just with a bit of disruption, mate, during the week. So they're outsiders 235 head-to-head.
And Mako Sivo, anytime try scorer, probably the way to go too. 5 tries these last 4 games. So there you go. Might be a bit of value there, kids.
Mate, quick story. I made a comeback in the Perth Nines, and mate, it was all going pretty well. We got to the quarterfinals, I think it was. I was sort of late 30s at that stage. Got invited to come back as a pass player, and I knew my time was up when big Big Sevo picked it up off a dropout and just eyeballed me. And he mustn't have got the message around, probably, just take it easy on the old blokes. And he just looked up, he eyeballed me, and he just absolutely steamrolled me. So
that was it, mate.
That was it. Hung him up for the second time.
I love it, mate. Hey, Friday night footy, 6 p.m, of course, doubleheader. Dragons v the Sea Eagles. This is at Jubilee Stadium. Head-to-head, Dragons 2.42. Manly $1.55. The Sea Eagles at the line -2.5 $1.90. Key stats, they split the games last year, Gids. And Manly's Jason Saab, former Dragon, of course, has 4 tries in his last 2 games. So which way are you leaning here, big fella? Manly,
if it was at Wynn Stadium, I'd go Dragons, but I just think Dragons, they come off a poor loss last week against the Roosters, I think it was. So I'm going to go Sea Eagles, mate, minus the start, $1.90.
Beautiful, mate. Happy with that too, big fella. I'm liking what Manly's doing in the back half of the season. They're certainly playing a lot better. Knights taking on the Roosters, big fella. Friday night, 7:55, McDonald Jones Stadium. Head-to-head, Knights, $3.25. Roosters, $1.35 at the line. The Roosters -8.5, $1.90. Key stats, Knights won their round 1 clash, believe it or not, 20-6. That seems like an eternity ago. Roosters snapped their 4-game losing streak last week. Roosters Joseph Suaalii has 5 tries in his last 5 games. I must admit, Gids, I reckon you guys are short here, the Knights at 3.25. And I reckon the Roosters, they can't afford to drop games like this, and they're absolute specials here, surely.
No, look, that's the danger, mate. They're outside the 8 at the moment. They're on 18 points with 2 other teams. So this is an absolute must-win game for them to stay within the 8. And, mate, for our Knights boys, she's clutching at straws. There's a number of injuries. Tupanua, Billy Smith, Takiyaho are all out. Dom Young, who's been probably one of our best this year, is our young English winger. Edric Lee may be out. Simi Sasagi. So there's a stack of injuries. And Roosters have got likely Keary back and Hargraves, which is not ideal for the Knights. So real tough one for the Knights to get up here. But potentially, mate, the Knights could win with 9.5 start, $1.90.
I love
$1.90.
I love your optimism, mate. You're an absolute legend.
I'll take the Knights with 9.5.
Like it, mate. I like it. Hey, Saturday, 3 p.m. at GIO Stadium. It's the Raiders taking on the Warriors. Head-to-head, Raiders $1.31. Warriors at $3.50. At the line, the Raiders -11.5, $1.90. Key stats. Warriors won their round 8 clash, 21-20. It was an absolute cracking game. Warriors, however, have only won 1 of their last 9 games. Of course, that was a couple of weeks ago when they had their first home game back in New Zealand for a couple of years.
Yeah.
What do you reckon, mate? Raiders?
Well, mate, surely they should be playing a few more games back in NZ.
Mate, they should be. Seriously, they should have given the whole back half of the year, I reckon.
Oh, my God.
Come on, Peter V'landys. What are you doing? Look after the Warriors.
They've had, what was it? It was 1,000 days away from home, and they had 1 game back. They won it, and then straight back to Oz.
Yeah, get them back over there, mate.
Get them back home. I'm going to go with the Raiders, mate. And I looked up on the Palmer Bet app there before. I'm going to have to go the Raiders 13+, which you get sort of $2.05 for that one, $2.05.
Yeah, they're going to win comfortably.
Decent bet.
I like it. Hey, Panthers v the Sharks, Saturday, 5:30 p.m. Panthers Stadium, head-to-head. Panthers $1.25. Sharks are at $4 at the line. The Panthers -11.5 at $1.90. Key stats, they split their games last year, a long time. Sharks have won 5 straight. Panthers have won 8 straight. Both sides in good nick. Can the Sharkies cause a bit of an upset here, Gids?
Well, a game of the round for me, this one, that's for sure, especially after the Sharks getting a crack and win there last week. And I don't think too many blokes backing up for Origin off the top of my head. I know there's been a few blokes in camp training, Talakai maybe, but he didn't play a lot of time. Great game. Still going to stick with the Panthers on this one. Obviously, a number of their players had a rest after Origin, so I think they had. Did I hear Nathan Cleary had gone to Bali or something on his week off? So,
wow.
Yeah, I think they'll be certainly.
That happened. I don't want to put the moz on, but that happened in the AFL with Jordan DeGoey. It didn't go very well for him.
Yeah, I think Nathan might have learnt from a couple of indiscretions maybe previously and kept his head down, maybe just opted for the massages instead of
The Bintangs.
The Bintangs, yeah. But yeah, look, I'm going to go with the Panthers, mate, on this one. It should be a cracking game. Panthers Stadium. Panthers 1-12, about $3.15, which is decent value, though.
Yeah, my oath it is, mate. This game is going to be a cracker. This is a match around for mine because the Storm have got to bounce back. It's the Rabbitohs v the Storm. Saturday night, 7:35 at Course Stadium. Head-to-head, Rabbits, 2.10. Storm, $1.74 at the line. The Storm, -2.5 at $1.90. Key stats, kids. Storm won their round 2 clash, 15-14. It was a nail-biter. All-time head-to-head, 36 games these teams have played. Melbourne with 31 wins. South with only 5 wins. That is unbelievable. And it's the first time the Storm have lost 3 games in a row since 2015. So, Gids, honestly, I must admit, I reckon the odds are a little bit skew iffy. I reckon I would have thought the Rabbits would have been nearly close to favourites here.
Yeah. I mean, Latrell's been back for a couple of weeks. Looks like he had a couple of pretty big plays there for South last week against, it was only the Dogs, which they were probably expected to win. But Storm was short for coming off the back of three losses. But again, they sort of had a few guys, only back. I know Kafusi was overseas to see, I think, his dad, who was Crook. Munster was back. Harry Grant would have been back and up. So they had a number of guys who were sort of just bouncing back from Origin and been away from the game. So, I think Melbourne draw a line, mate, in the sand after rep season, and I reckon that line would have been drawn pretty pretty aggressively, maybe by Craig Bellamy on Monday morning reviewing that video session. And I reckon they reassess and they get started for this back end of the year, this back end of the season.
Yeah, I reckon you're right, mate. Hard to see the Storm losing 4 on the trot for mine, but gee whiz, I
looked up. I jumped on the Palmer bet app and just explored a few more options too, mate, from a little wager point of view. And I jumped on the bracket of how much they might win by. So I've gone for the 6 to 10 points. Storm to win by 6 to 10 points.
Yeah,
$6.75.
Wow, there you go. Nice.
Yeah, so
2 tries, just roughly.
Yeah, try just within 2. Yeah, try 2.
Yeah, love it. All right, mate. Beautiful. Righto. Sunday, 2 p.m. Combank Stadium. It's the Bulldogs taking on the Titans. A couple of teams that have been a little bit disappointing for mine. Head-to-head, Bulldogs $1.54. Titans at $2.50. At the line, the Bulldogs -4.5 at $1.90. Key stats, Titans have lost 7 straight, mate. Bulldogs haven't beaten the Titans since 2019. So both these sides not taking a great deal of form in, Gids.
No. Geez, I feel for Justin Holbrook too after the year he had last year in his first NRL gig. So it's a bloody real disappointing one for them as a club, and certainly him as a coach. He'd be pretty stressed out, I reckon, and disappointed. But yeah, I'm on the Dogs, mate, for this one. We've seen some glimpses of some of their good form when they can put it together. Matt Burton will be good to have them back, after a few days off. So I've gone Bulldogs, mate, 13 plus to $2.95. Yeah, I think they'll win convincingly.
Right, keen on the Bulldogs, mate. The old Titans aren't going to give a yelp. Final game, Cowboys v Tigers, Sunday, 4:05, Queensland Country Bank Stadium. And the Cowboys are $1.10, Tigers $7. The Cowboys at the line, -9.5, $1.90. Key stats, Cowboys won their round 10 clash easy, 36-12. Tigers have lost their last 6 straight. You expecting the Cowboys to bounce back after that loss last week, mate?
Yeah, I am, mate. I am. They've been one of the most consistent teams, probably outside of the Panthers, really over the last 10 rounds prior to that loss there last week. So they've had a great season. A little blip on the radar there last week it might have been, but I think they'll win pretty convincingly here. I know there's some start for the Tigers, 19.5, but I'll take that off the Cowboys, mate. So mine is 19.5 start, $1.90.
Yeah, beautiful, mate. Double your money, effectively.
Win well.
Kids. I love it. Now, listen, what's your best bet? What's your best bet before we get to your multi, mate? What's the lay down misere?
Mate, best bet, Dogs to win, mate. But I've looked into it again. They've jumped on the Palmer bet app there this afternoon. I'm going to go Dogs to win both halves, $3.
Oh, there you go.
I think they'll get off. That's pretty. You know, I think
That's
it's fair odds. It's a fair reflection of their of how they've been going against the Titans.
I've never seen that bet type, mate. To be honest, so there you go, just to win both halves. That's good.
Dogs to win both halves, $3.
Gee whiz, mate. This is awesome to see. Now, listen, what about the Kurt Gidley multi? What do you got for us? Remember last week we went all the favourite teams. I reckon we got about 4. I reckon we got half right. That was about it.
No, not good enough. I've stuck clear, mate, of that one this week. And as I said, I just went the Cowboys minus 9.5 start. I think they'll win more than that. So I jumped on the Palmer Bet app there, mate. I think they'll win I'm going to have a crack at between 26 and 30 points, and you get $7.50.
Well, that is
so
nice.
I think they'll win convincingly.
It's a big win.
It's a big win, mate. Geez, Tigers are in all sorts. It's only the Titans who are going worse off at the moment. Tigers have lost 6 on the bounce. Titans have lost 7 on the bounce. So, and mate, Cowboys lost last week. I expect a pretty big response from them. Yeah. Their Origin players are all back. They've probably been rested up, and they're back at home.
Yeah, I love it, mate. Well, I'll tell you what, the key message is, of course, gamble responsibly. It is all thanks to these guys, Palmer Bet. Download the app, get involved. There is plenty of options. There's same game multis. You name it, they do it at Palmer Bet, mate. They do a sensational job, that is for sure. But the key message, obviously, kids, is always gamble responsibly and within your means.
Absolutely.
Mate. Hey,
absolutely, mate. But
are you going to get to any games this weekend?
Yes, mate. I've got a decent Friday in store. Actually, I've got a bit of a long lunch, mate. And I like to call them networking lunches,
mate. You are the king.
I've got a networking lunch, and that goes straight into the Knights v the Roosters. What time we got? We're at Knights v Roosters.
7:55, I think.
7:55. So,
won't you be nice by 7:55?
I'll be in a nice old shape by then. But yeah, tune in if you come to the Sportsman's Lounge at the footy. I look forward to having a beer with you.
Oh, I love it, kids. Hey, like, share, subscribe, get involved, hang it on us, do whatever you want to do, mate. But it's always good fun. But don't argue, of course. All thanks to Palmer Bet. Kids, you have a wonderful weekend, big fella. And just be careful, mate, heading into your home ground, because you have put a line through the Knights. So just expect a little bit of flack, mate.
Can we make sure this doesn't get beamed out in the Hunter Valley, please?
No chance, mate. You're shot. Hey, good to talk to you as always, big fella. Have a great week.
See you, mate. All the best.